What's up, guys? Ricky Royal here, and I want to share two simple concepts that will help you going out, flirting with women, building your social confidence, and helping you dominate the room from a good high vibration place. So the two concepts are, one is surrendering the outcome, and the other one is developing a champion-like frame or a dynamic frame. So with the surrendering of the outcome, I find this is very hard, and this can be very subtle because it's happening subconsciously. It's happening without you knowing it. Consciously, you could be like, oh yeah, well, of course, let go of the outcome. Don't try to get laid. Just be yourself. But really, part of your brain is like, well, I still want it to work. So just announcing, even out loud before you go out, being like, I surrender the outcome. Sometimes I even like doing this when I'm talking to a girl. I'm like, yeah, I'm just trying to go out tonight, just trying to surrender the outcome, right? It doesn't make logical sense, but it's actually kind of funny because I'm sharing my truth with her, and really it's reminding my mind, right? My mind, the subconscious part of my mind, to surrender the fucking outcome. Even like sharing it on a video now here, is giving that social reinforcement to even help me personally to surrender the fucking outcome. And by doing that, you can be in the moment, right? Share your truth, be centered in yourself, and you have a magnetic charisma vibe to you, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect, don't have to strive for perfection, but it removes that needy outcome from your biology, because your biology is very subtle. It gets very Machiavellian, like, oh, well, yeah, I'm gonna say I surrender my outcome, but deep down, I'm gonna get it because that's how I'm gonna win, right? You're thinking about winning something when coming from a more conscious love awareness perspective, you realize you've already won because you are you, right? You are you. When you love yourself, you realize that your own uniqueness is bringing that value to the group. Now, it's easier said than done because when you get into a group and there's all this stimulation around you, like in a bar, nightclub, right? High pressure situations, if you will, that you tend to forget that. Your mind tends to close off because it's like, oh, I don't want to be, overstimulated, or I don't want to be overdone, or I have to protect my persona, my self-image. And then that's when the doorway's shut in your mind and the real you, your truth, can't come out. And then you're like, oh, well, what's my outcome? I have to do this because this is what cool guys do that get laid, blah, blah, blah. So this is helping you bring out the real you, coming from an authentic place while being that guy that has those qualities, guys that are naturally attractive and naturally seductive. So the first one is surrendering the outcome. The second one is developing your dominant frame. Now, this is a lot of the work I go into, like teaching guys that are empathic or more sensitive, right? Maybe you're more of a caring, compassionate guy, right? And you feel for people, but the problem is that your caring and compassionateness is too much over on one side, where like this would be like your caring, compassionate side, and then this is like your fucking asshole side. And we want to get you right in the middle, right? I say it like being an asshole with a heart of gold. Well, what does that mean? That means being challenging and noticing that challenging is actually, I like to call it, it's a seductive frequency that you're communicating with the girl on. She knows you're joking, but you're throwing that masculine vibe in what you're saying. You're not being soft and compassionate like the feminine, like she's being, right? You're not being like a woman, you're talking man to man, and you're doing it in a joking, fun way. So she knows that, oh, this guy's just joking around, he's just fooling around, and you're giving the value of that masculine vibe, that masculine frequency you're sending out by being challenging. Now, one of the easiest ways to do this is to do the downward tonality, right? Doing the downward tonality as I'm doing now. Most times, like when you're rapport building, it's kind of high and it's up, so bringing it down. Now, I share practices that I teach of like grounding your energy, grounding yourself, doing dynamic meditations to get that down. But a lot of it too is just going out and getting comfortable and noticing when you're doing that. A lot of times, if you notice when you talk to your bros, you do this by default, right? You do this by default. You talk to other guys very challenging. It's like man to man. But then when you talk to a girl, all of a sudden you start mirroring the girl. You're like, hey, and there's two girls talking to each other. So instead, be challenging with your tonality, just how I am talking now, because it, again, that's giving that masculine frequency, right? That masculine communication skill, which girls, very feminine girls, or girls that like dominant men, are going to respond well to, and they find that very attractive and seductive, okay? And then the other way is to be challenging, right? Simple way to be challenging is asking why. Or whatever she says, just say, I fucking hate that, right? That's why I love the word fuck, because fuck is a good way to be challenging. It's a communication, it's a language hack in itself. So just use it. Use the fucking basics. You don't have to reinvent the wheel on this shit. Just do what works and get that down, right? Your mind, I know my mind always wants to innovate and like, well, I want to do it my way, and right, and like, I'm going to come up with some new, unique thing that's never heard. But it's like, no, do the things that actually work. Be challenging, right? Downward tonality, ask why, always question. Alphas are always questioning things. And by doing that, she also realizes that you don't accept things at face value. That's what makes you a good leader, right? You can't just accept things at face value. You have to challenge them a bit. And the truth always stands the challenge, right? So I'll leave you with that, those two things of number one, first be in the moment. Right now I'm obsessed with being in the now, right? Be in the moments. But the number one was it literally is not coming to me. So let's start with the second one. Being challenging by creating that dominant frame, challenging dominant frame, asking why, downward tonality, using just disagreeing with her, outright disagreeing with her, right? Choosing to, but as a joke, as a funny joke, to show that how well you'll start picking up. It kind of becomes addictive because you'll see how addictive or how good of responses you get when you just disagree with girls. They're like, oh my gosh, and they light up, right? And you're like, oh, this is the seductive frequency of being challenging, which is creating that dominant frame that women love, okay? And then the first one was surrendering. Yes, surrendering the outcome. Surrendering the outcome and consciously saying that to command your subconscious. Rule number one of being a conscious alpha is dominating the mind by commanding it, saying, I surrender the outcome before I go out, saying to your wingman, saying it to your buddies, saying it to the girls you talk to, just kind of as a funny joke. But again, it's acting through alignment. And I know this sounds weird, but it's like, how committed are you to getting good at this, right? This sounds weird. If you're like, I don't know if this works, that means you're kind of being half a gangster. You're being half-assed about it. You want to see it work before actually putting it to work. Instead, put it to work, make it work for you, try it out 10 times, and then you'll start getting the benefits from it with surrendering the outcome, with letting it go, just trying something new, something fun to see if it will benefit you. So I challenge you, try these two things out this weekend and let me know how it works for you. Leave your questions and comments down below. Peace, my friend.